Welcome to Business Class, a podcast for people wanting to upgrade their thinking, upgrade their learning, and upgrade their life. I'm your host, Eugenia Pantahos, founder of Business Class Collective, best-selling author, and life coach. If you're an entrepreneur, a startup, or someone who dreams of reaching their full potential, then you're in the right place. You'll feel empowered and inspired to design the life you've always wanted. Let's do this. Hello gorgeous people, I hope you're well. It's been a week since I flew to Sydney for a book signing event for both Greek Life and Greek Food for Sharing. Greek Life is in its third print run and it's been 10 years since I've published that book. And Greek Food for Sharing is in its second print run and it's been a couple of years since I printed that one. When I arrived at the store in Sydney, I was met with people waiting in the store ready to meet me. I got there 15 minutes early. I also discovered that dozens of people had placed orders for multiple books each and that there were bags waiting for me to sign the books, and some had requests for personal messages. These people couldn't come to the signing yet had paid for the books in advance and put their request in. I cannot tell you how that felt, how grateful I am for that experience and for people to trust the process, which is just beautiful. People came, more books were signed, people stayed to share conversations and stories and hugs and to be part of the amazing energy of the day. Initially, the shop owner and I had agreed to a 1-hour window on that Saturday so as to maximise who would show up. I was prepared to stay for 2 and I'd expressed this to her. Realistically, I thought there'll be people that come a little bit later. However, I was there for 3.5 hours, followed by the longest goodbye. It was a huge success, rewarding and ever so meaningful. What made it even more special was to have my daughter Helena and my great niece Lilli with me on the day. So special indeed. When I think back on the journey of becoming a first-time author, I am amazed at how much support and love I've received since I first published in 2014. That's 10 years this year, and I just don't know where that time has gone. An idea is just that, unless you take the steps and put into action a plan to make your dream a reality. You may remember that Greek Life was initially going to be a private book for my immediate and extended family, a way to share with current and future generations the beautiful and inimitable Greek way of life and the authentic and delightful flavours of Greece with the treasured family recipes. Publishing a book takes courage, backing yourself takes courage, developing relationships with stockers takes courage, and delighting customers is the reward. When I decided to publish Greek Life after my serendipitous meeting with my editor, who was honoured to be the editor for Greek Life, in fact she put her hands into prayer position when she accepted the job, and she put me into contact with a graphic designer that did the most amazing job and saw my vision for the book and was able to interpret that in the final design. My plan was to create the absolute best book on Greek food and culture, one that is a keepsake, a trousseau, to keep and to use with recipes that are authentic and easy to follow, to hand down through the generations, and to include recipes that are not only authentic but easy to prepare, colourful and nutritious, because at the core of Greek life is the Mediterranean diet and lifestyle. So fast forward 10 years, wow, I can't believe that it's been 10 years, but now that I think about it, it was the same year I completed my Masters in Business. In 2017 is when I received the news that Greek Life had won Best Mediterranean and Best Self-Published Cookbook in the Gourmand International Cookbook Awards. This is the Olympic Games of the cookbook world, and it saw me travel to Frankfurt to attend the fair, and to see my book on display as a best in the world was a truly surreal moment. And it's not lost on me that this year is an Olympic Games year that's happening in Paris. So moving on, I had lost my father in September of 2017, and since launching the book in 2014, Dad attended many of my events together with my immediate family. He loved coming along, and many people asked him to autograph the page that had a photo of his younger self on his first day in Australia. How special is that? In the process, I had book signings in Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney, Athens, New York, and on the York Peninsula here in South Australia. It was a dream come true. I was living the absolute best life, being present with Greek life. I saw what it meant to people. I saw that it was a bridge that connected people to memories of their childhood. I saw it as the book that was expressed that gave people the permission to re-embrace their Greek culture. I couldn't have imagined that when I wrote Greek Life that it would have had affected so many people so passionately and so positively. And for me, even one comment made it all worthwhile. Those who know me know that I'm driven and passionate. What surprises people the most is to learn that although I'm confident in the direction of my dreams and how I may present myself, there were times when my younger self was quite shy. It's a muscle that I had to flex and grow. So showing up in life means backing yourself and rising to the challenge of becoming the person that your journey requires you to be. For me, that meant becoming the face of my brand. People can hear about the books, but if they can't connect to the author, then it's just another book. It's just another product. People need to see themselves in what you've created. They need to come along on the ride, and you need to be the driver of the train and put them at the center of attention. Life happens, challenges happen, and sometimes, like myself, I have felt vulnerable and a little frightened to put myself out there. Especially when life was challenging, I wasn't up to it. I was in that place, and I'm here to tell you that it's natural, but I'm also here to tell you that you can't sit there for a while. You can't sit there for too long. There will be a new train coming along right behind you, and you need to keep up. So whatever your business journey is, realizing that if you don't back yourself or connect with your stockers and customers, and in the process delight your customers, then your role as a business owner will be challenging and it will only be transactional. The key to operating any business is delighting your customer with impeccable service and with them being seen and appreciated. Part of my Greek heritage can be explained in 3 words: philoxenia, philotimo, and meraki. So what do these words mean, you ask? Well, we're going to dive into it now. Philoxenia is to show love and inclusion to strangers. It's to befriend people without wanting anything in return, to extend a welcome and treat strangers honourably, and to show hospitality. Philotimo is about having virtues, becoming a friend of honour, and to be honourable in all that you do. It's about knowing yourself and acting with integrity. And lastly, meraki. It's about doing something with a sense of pride and love. It is the essence of what you put into your work. I can honestly say that my cookbooks and other publications have the essence of me within the pages. It's what many of my readers notice almost immediately, and they come back to me with the most glowing and positive reviews because they feel the love, they feel the connection, they feel the story, they can relate to it. The recipes relate to things that they know, and it just brings in this beautiful community. Now that I knew what I stand for, I put on my career experience and my MBA cap, and I developed a business plan. I brainstormed, imagined, and projected into the future my current dreams and desires, and went to work diligently, being focused and planning every step with integrity. My word meant something, and I wanted to be remembered for all the right reasons. When it came to my customers, I delighted them. Sometimes I'll add a surprise, no charge copy of one of my other publications. Sometimes I'd send a surprise chocolate. handwritten notes, vouchers, discount cards if they were repeat customers, or I wouldn't charge postage if they were buying boxes of books. Believe me when I say that I've now lost track of how many boxes of 12 books I sent out to one individual customer at a time, not just the stockers who received multiple boxes. I hosted Taste of Greece dinners and promoted continued learning, inspiration and philosophy to a long table of passionate people. Themes range from love to the Mediterranean diet and an examination of Plato's Symposium. My guest speakers were specialists in their field, and these dinners were enjoyed over delicious Greek food and luscious wines. What I forgot to tell you, however, is that before I self-published, I had been rejected by around half a dozen to a dozen publishers, and that hurt. I won't say otherwise. However, it also propelled me into action, into believing in myself, into backing myself and not giving up. I knew my why, and that made all the difference. And for anyone who's thinking about writing a book or self-publishing, here are some interesting statistics that were released at the end of 2023. The average self-published book sells 250 copies. 33% of self-published authors make less than $500 per year. 90% of self-published books sell less than 100 copies. I can tell you that with Writing Greek Life, knowing my why, making it the best book possible for Greek food and culture, presenting it in a way that was inimitable, building relationships with my customers, my stockists, putting my face behind the brand, I've exceeded all of those figures, and I'm so proud that I have. If I didn't believe in my journey, I wouldn't have done a second print run or a third print run. If I hadn't had the success with my first print run, there's no way in the world I would have continued. But I have continued, and I have received the success and the fruit of my labour. And it's amazing because I then had publishers reach back to me and say, "Oh, we're interested in talking to you," but I'd already done the hard work. I'd already created the brand. I'd already created my stockists and had my book launches and book signings. They came only after they saw my success. They didn't believe in me when I was no one. They didn't take a chance on me. They didn't know how to place my book, how to promote my book. They couldn't see a market. I knew the market existed, and that market showed me without any hesitation what my book meant to them. I think the most remarkable thing that happened is I had sold books to a customer in New York who then took my book and took photos of my book against the New York skyline and another photo with the Statue of Liberty in the background. I have photos of people who have my book in pride of place in their homes and in their kitchens. I have people sending me photos of what they've made for my book with my book right next to the produce they've prepared. You can't fake that. You can't fake the people that have come on the journey. And I'm so grateful. I'm so humble and grateful for my experience. In the words of Audrey Hepburn, the word impossible does not exist. It actually means I'm possible. And I love that, and so are you. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope it's given you something to think about as you go about your plans and your goals. And if you need anyone to discuss any of your business journeys with and become strategic and get another set of eyes on what you're doing, give me a call, reach out to me, email me. Until next time. You've been listening to Business Class presented by Eugenia Pantahos, founder of Business Class Collective. If you haven't yet, go to Apple Podcast, subscribe, rate and review this podcast. Share the love and let your family and friends know too. You can follow Business Class Collective on Instagram and Facebook. Join me next time.